Hi everyone, this is Mawipa Social Media. My name is Maria Almanzar and I just saw an update. I know that this update has been up for a couple of days now, and I just wanted to, just wanted to make my own opinion about it, about the bodega that a young 15-year-old kid ran into, and it happened a couple of blocks away from where Junior was murdered. Only this time, when the child came in, he was asking, for help because around five or more young adults or kids were chasing after this child, and he came inside the bodega trying to seek help because they were going to do the same thing that happened to Junior. All I can say is that I am happy that this bodeguero proved to Cruz, especially, that he could have helped when Junior was taken out of the bodega. And he also proved that if you are involved and you take that risk. I know that many people wouldn't take that risk, but he decided that since it happened to Junior, he didn't want it to happen in his bodega probably, and didn't want the same thing to happen to this child. But a lot of involving people, like people got involved in breaking up, that fight. That child specifically was kicked several times in the head, and they had to take him to the hospital. But also, an update was revealed that a 50-year old man was shot, and of course, a 15-year-old had I guess was throwing shots, and unfortunately, it hit a 50-year-old man. They were both taken to the hospital. But the true fact is that you can save a life if you want to save a life. I mean, here was a bodeguero. He was thinking about what happened to Junior a couple of months ago, and he didn't want that to happen to this child. The child looked like he was very desperate, just like what happened to Junior. He fled from those youngsters who wanted to kill him, and so he fled inside this bodega. Luckily, this child had a very a very mindful, thoughtful bodeguero, and he is considered a hero because he saved the child's life, and also he didn't let it happen again. I personally think that if Junior would have gone into that bodega, probably he would have been alive today. So it proves, Cruz wrong, that he says that he couldn't have done anything, and there you see it again. We have copycats who want to copy actually what happened to Junior, but considering that they did say that guns were fired, and that night only machetes were thrown at, of course, Junior. So one victim was targeted, even though this victim was targeted as well, but also another victim fell to, victim to these young kids who just want to gang up on one child, and want to gang up on them and kill them. And so it didn't happen again. Now they are searching for a 15-year-old suspect who was involved in that, in the hybrid section of the Bronx. Okay, so I hope that they catch this 15-year-old. Is going to show him that a life is not to be played with, and that we don't need any more crime happening to kids that are constantly being chased by kids who just want to destroy lives, and they carrying guns like if they know how to even handle a gun, and just they only do this to try to scare people off. They try to do this so that fear sets in and that you be fearful of them. Luckily, this bodeguero didn't give in. He didn't give in, and he actually helped a child, and he actually helped save a life. In which, if you get involved and you don't walk around like it's none of your business, like that night what happened to Junior, you can save a life if people get involved and not let it happen. Don't let it happen again, is what I'm trying to say. So anyone, if you see something happen, I don't care what it is, just don't record it on your phone. And look, they even had the cameras, from the bodega. And this camera, was not very blurry, but it wasn't very clear either. But hopefully by that camera, they can catch these kids, and they did. And hopefully that they will catch that 15-year-old who did this. Because, all they're doing is that they don't even know what they're doing. They're just carrying a gun, shooting it anywhere they think they can possibly shoot it at the next person that they see. And, there they go. Their whole life is destroyed. But I personally want to thank that bodeguero because he's a hero. I thank you very much for saving that boy's life. I don't know the boy's life, but apparently it affected you so much. It affected him so much, the memory of what happened to Junior, that he decided, I don't want another victim. I don't want another life to be gone like Junior's life. And that does matter. It does matter a lot, and that somebody is able to stand up to these kids who just randomly or probably are out to set and out to set to take away a life without even realizing that the consequences that lead to that is very, very, even fatal to your life, actually, because you will never come out of prison. And not only that, what awaits you is not very good. So kids, don't get involved in gangs thinking that gang life is the greatest thing. It is not. And once you do something and you cross them, remember and think back what happened to Junior and now this kid, who, by the way, was kicked repeatedly in the head by these guys. Okay, and they don't even look like 15. They look a little bit older to me in that camera, but I could be wrong because I wasn't there. But again, I do thank that bodeguero. He did do something very beautiful. Like one commentator, I don't know if it was a family member or a customer, but I if it were me and I was that kid's family, I would be thanking that guy. Also, he did a very nice gesture in giving some rewards to his employees who got involved and helped break it up, and I am happy for that. I only have this update because I think it's very important that we stick to it, that we stick to our guns, and that we stick to protecting our children, that we stick to protecting our neighborhoods, that we stick to justice for Junior. But justice for Junior is just not just for justice for Junior, just not for Junior, but for every little kid out there who's 15 years old, who thinks that life out on the street is the greatest thing. It could happen to you. It can happen to you. Okay? And maybe next time you may not be so lucky. This kid was lucky because he came in at a bodega that somebody actually cared and actually said to himself, I'm not going to let this happen again, what happened to Junior. And so I thank that bodeguero. He should really have like a medal or something like that for him, because actually he actually risked his life and he actually didn't shoo that kid away. He actually protected the kid, and they call the ambulance, and they call the ambulance for the 50-year-old man that got shot. Now, I hope that that man is doing well today. I hope that he's fine, and that finally they can catch this 15-year-old who did this, this act of stupidness, actually, because they think that they're not going to get caught, and they're not very smart. They're not very intelligent. So, kids, don't follow the herd. Be your own leader. Do not follow the herd. You see what happened the first time. You've seen what's happened the second time. And you see that if you cross these gangs, they're going to go after you. They're going to want blood. And yeah, I don't have a kid, so don't worry about me and what the fuck I say. Worry about you, okay? Because you matter to me. Don't worry about me. I am here, to do updates, but I care. I care about what happens to our kids today out in the street. I don't care if I live in Vegas. I've lived in the Bronx when I was in New York. Okay? So I kind of know what happens in the Bronx and how it works, And it's not very pretty when you have kids who are dying left and right and nobody wants to do anything about it. Which, again, that Bodega proved Cruz wrong again, that yes, if you get involved and you care and you care about a life, especially a 15-year-old who's pleading for his life, and you get involved and you break it up because you can, okay, you just didn't want to. You didn't want to get involved. And yes, I am going back to Cruz because he really needs to, reflect on what he said and what he did and admit to what he did. Okay, because if that bodeguero did it, what makes you any different? So everybody, have a nice day. Take care. Be watchful of your kids. Be careful who they hang out with. And take care. Bye-bye. This is Mawipa Social Media, live with Maria. Take care, everybody. God bless.